Welcome agents. In today's State of the Game we got a clear response to the Raid Matchmaking discussion, which is the hot topic right now, and for good reason. Also included was the news on the Delta era issue since title update 3.0, the random invasion mission schedule, and more. Now if you enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe for dedicated Division content, and with that said, let's get into this. Okay, so the devs started off explaining what was new as part of title update 3.0, including recalibration, classified assignments for season pass holders, and a lot more. They went on to talk about the Capitol Hill invaded mission and Grand Washington Hotel invaded mission. They confirmed that due to the update yesterday, Grand Washington Hotel became available, and this would again be updated tomorrow, so it will be somewhere else, meaning if you need the last piece of the exotic Nemesis sniper, you need to do it by tonight because it will not be there tomorrow. The good news is the devs confirmed invasions are now on a schedule and will not be random, and they may look to reveal the schedule at a later date, so we will know what will be invaded then, and I guess they'll give us confirmation of that again soon. Next up, the devs talked about the Hardwired gear set. Pre-update 3.0, some Hardwired gear sets rolled attributes that they shouldn't have, but this was patched with the update but not included in the patch notes. For anyone who noticed this change to their Hardwired gear set, this is why. Now moving on, and since the update, Delta errors seem to have taken over. I've experienced this myself quite a lot here on Xbox. The devs confirm this is their highest priority right now, especially with the raid coming out tomorrow, so they are hoping to have this all sorted by then. 2 bugs have been announced themselves since the update on the Roosevelt Island mission: C4 not planting and a certain rope not working, meaning you cannot progress any further. Again, this is a very high priority and the devs are looking at fixing this ASAP. Now, on to the biggie. The devs went on to talk about the hot topic right now, and that's Raid Matchmaking. Now, if you didn't know, yesterday it was revealed by Ubisoft that the Raid would not have matchmaking, contrary to what the devs had previously stated about every mission and activity having matchmaking. As you can imagine, a lot of people, myself included, have voiced their opinions about this, and the devs have responded. This is what they had to say.
We are aware of especially these matchmaking discussions surrounding the Raid. I do have some notes here, and I'm, for safety's sake, going to stick to them as closely as possible. That way I can't get in trouble. Also, it's worth noting that we do understand that people have, pulled up things that we've said in the past about this subject. So here's where it's at in front of me right now. Verbatim. We decided to not include matchmaking as we don't think this will create a good gameplay experience for random groups. The raid will test your abilities to communicate well, have a good build setup, and will require great teamwork to beat encounters.
So the idea with the raid, and especially the raid when we launch it as an initial discovery, when it's going to be made available, we want to make sure that this experience is an experience where you have to prepare for it, where you have to build a team, you have to organize yourself, you have to really try to define the builds that everybody's going to be using, the roles that everybody's going to be playing. Then you attempt, you potentially fail, then you talk about it, you change your strategy and all of that. So communication, preparation, and organization are extremely important for us. And again, especially as part of the discovery phase when we make the raid available. And
we are going to come back to this topic at the end, but it's worth noting Yannick said numerous times that there would be no matchmaking initially, and he kept saying initially, and they will keep reviewing their positions. Now it's clear that they didn't want this to begin with, but I guarantee it will be added at a later date. Anyway, moving on, the devs went on to talk about the Dark Hours Apparel Event, which will begin tomorrow, May 16th, and go for 3 weeks until June the 6th. Now, just like the last apparel event, there will be a 1-week extension after June 6th to purchase any of the collections you couldn't get, and Dark Hour keys will not drop during this period. As you can see, there will be some new masks, new skins, and other things to collect. During the apparel event, you will also be able to purchase pre-order and Ultimate Edition exclusive apparel, along with the Deluxe pack, which includes the Lullaby shotgun. The devs went on to confirm the raid exclusive exotic assault rifle is called Eagle Bearer, and you can see that in the actual what it looks like, the skin of it. They confirm raid exclusives will only be available once per week, but you can of course play the raid as many times as you want. Next up, the devs confirmed you can get free stuff from watching the raid on Twitch. These are a Dark Hours cash key for 30 minutes of watching, and 2 specialised apparel cash keys for 90 minutes. You'll just have to link up your account to the Twitch stream. Just a reminder that the raid will start tomorrow at 6 PM CEST or 5 PM GMT. Okay, so that was the stream, but I want to go back to the raid matchmaking, and I really want you guys to leave your comments down below because it appears to have split the community, and the devs will be looking at feedback. Now, let me tell you a story. When the Taken King launched for Destiny, I had a group that I played with at the time fairly often, and of course we tried it out. Now, after about 6 or so hours, we pretty much gave up. And after that, most of them sort of stopped playing Destiny, so I never really had the chance to complete it. And most of the LFG websites asked for the craziest of requirements. The main one being that you needed a particular weapon, the Touch of Malice, just like how you needed the Gallahorn for Crota. Now, I didn't have the Touch of Malice at this time, so I collected all of the ghosts and I eventually got it, just to give me some sort of chance to actually playing a group. Now, I went back to the LFG website and I found a group, and they were pretty much all squeakers, but they and I were determined to beat the raid. 5 hours later, and we beat the raid. And this was the first time I'd beat it. Now, I found other groups and showed them how to beat it, and it was great. Now, this was possible because of the LFG, but I'm not saying this should be the case here, because generally, these websites are pretty horrible for trying to find people to play with. So, do I think there should be some kind of matchmaking for the raid? Absolutely. I don't think you should be able to just sort of hold down the X button and matchmake with anyone like you could with the incursions or any other type of mission within the game. I think that would kind of create a little bit of a mess. What I think you should have is somewhat similar to the underground matchmaking in the Division, whereby you can go to the helicopter in the Division 2 and you can pick certain things you want or don't want and then matchmake from there, i.e. mics, region, all of that good stuff. The same sort of stuff you would get when you're making a clan in many ways. Now, having to go to the third-party websites to try and find people to play with just makes no sense to me. Now, surely the devs will want people to stay in the game for as long as possible, but this is going to push 99% of the community away from the game to find these people on these websites. Now, finding 4 people for a raid on one of these websites is going to be hard enough, but 8 people is going to be nigh on impossible, and there's a strong possibility 99% of people won't do it or won't be successful, meaning they'll never actually be able to play the raid, which is a real shame. Now, I get that matchmaking as it stands, it would be a mess. Just going in there, pressing X and just having 8 people join, it would be a mess, which is why I recommend what I have just said, but it is kind of beside the point. If it is a mess for the people who are trying to matchmake, well, that's their decision. They are trying to matchmake, they will understand that that comes with doing that. If they're not going to go and find a group, and this is their only way of playing the raid or having a shot at the raid, then they're going to be prepared for that. And I don't think that should be a problem. I think people should be able to pick and choose what they want to do. If you want to find a group of 8 people and go in all coordinated and stuff, fine. But if you don't have the resources or the time to do that, or the friends to do that, or the clan to do that, and you just want to go in there and matchmake with other people, and potentially it could be a mess, well, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, going back to my story, if they'd had matchmaking in Destiny, then I would have absolutely done that, and I guarantee you'll find groups of people, it might be 1 out of 10, it might be 1 out of 5, it might be the first one. You'll find groups of people that can do it, especially after the first couple of days where it's all sort of come out and you know what's going on. Now, as I said before, based on how Yannick presented the idea of no matchmaking and why they came to this decision, I am 99.9%, I'm probably 100% sure they will add some matchmaking feature at a later date. Now, it's clear the devs want the World First to be beat by an organised group, rather than potentially a group of random players with little to no coordination. And I get it. This would make the raid look really bad, as you can imagine, just a random group going in there, beating the raid, being World's First, or just beating it generally on the first day. I think it would look bad, and I get it, which is why it will come at some point, I think, later on down the line. Now, the idea that this content will only be possible with well-organised groups, with the best builds and all of that gibberish, is the same thing Bungie said about their raids. It's the same thing they said about the Taken King, and that was beaten by a solo player eventually. Once the first videos come out about the mechanics and how to beat stuff, every group, whether they be solo or organised, it doesn't really matter. Every group will be able to do it, just as they did the Destiny raids. I'm still excited for the raid, and I should be able to get 8 players, but that's only because of my position as a content creator for the game. The devs said that they want to make sure everyone gets a chance to experience the raid, but they've thrown numerous obstacles in the way, no matchmaking being the icing on the cake, at least for me. I'm not happy about this, and I hope they reconsider this as soon as possible. And again, I want you guys to leave your comments down below, because I really think that this is it's a subject that it's one of those subjects that I don't normally get involved in, but this is so close to my heart in that I think it's going to push so many people away from the game, and I don't want that. Anyway, sorry for the little rant. I'm mostly positive about the game, as you guys know, but I'm not going to be positive about something I think is totally wrong. it affects 99% of the game's audience, and I could potentially cause a huge decline in the player base. Now, I don't want this game to fail like the Division 1 did, and this news is one giant step in that direction. So I really hope they change that as soon as possible. And as I said, I think come a week, maybe 2 weeks after the raid, once all the hardcore teams have done it, and the raid's amazing, and you can only be organised to do it, I think they'll add a feature after that point, and then everyone will be able to do it, and everyone will be able to complete it, basically, because we'll have all of the stuff up. Anyway, if you stayed until the end, thank you very much for your support, and I do apologise about the rant. Until the next one, Epic out.